That is not easy at all. It's a great element of complexity, especially because today many large corporations, they have global supply chains and multiple supply chains. This means that you are looking at hundreds of suppliers and business partners involved in these activities, and you are looking at operations that are spread in different regions of the world, and very often in problematic regions of the world. Companies need to take this very seriously, because very often the real sustainability problems are not at the corporate level, but they are at the supply chain level. Think, for example, at the fashion industry, and companies like Primark or Zara or H&M. It's not a big problem to discuss sustainability at the corporate level and what you are doing in your offices or in your stores. The big problem is what is happening in the countries where you are producing these clothes. They do need to be able to execute their sustainability strategies, not only at the corporate level, but at the supply chain level. The challenge is that companies, especially large corporations, they do have the ability in a way to influence the suppliers, but they don't control them directly. So this type of change, this type of transformation takes time. I have done research on this topic and published a number of years ago a paper that was basically looking at the type of governance mechanisms that corporations can use to try to influence the suppliers and align international supply chains. And what we found with that research is that you do need to find the right balance between collaborative and non-collaborative approaches and formal and informal mechanisms. And that's the real secret to transform supply chains. But of course, is something that calls for time. It could take years, decades to improve sustainability at the supply chain level in the context of global supply chains. But of course, this is something in the agenda of many organizations today. Absolutely. Today, what is happening is that the pressure is coming from different stakeholder groups. So maybe in some industries, the pressure is coming from consumers. In other industries, the pressure is coming from investors. In other industries, the pressure is coming from government. And this is changing rapidly. This means not necessarily this pressure was there 3 years ago. And very often it is hard for companies to understand what could be the pressure in 3 years' time. And that's why I believe it is very, very important for organizations to start looking into this now, if they are not already, addressing sustainability in their business today, because their competitiveness is seriously at risk. And I personally believe that the pandemic has just accelerated this process. I believe the pandemic was a big booster for digital transformation and sustainability transformation. And this means that strategies need to be reviewed, and companies need to rethink their business models and need to integrate sustainability in order to be competitive in this new world, which is demanding digital approaches and sustainability. I think all stakeholders play a role. So it's not only about business and government, but it's about customers, consumers, investors, NGOs, charities. Probably everyone is today, influencing in a positive or negative way, the transformation of industry. I believe accountability is most likely, with business, for the reason being that if you basically take sustainability seriously, at that point is something that you approach strategically and becomes part of your agenda of who you are, of your business model. And this means that you have no interest that someone else is influencing what you do, because you wanted to control what you are doing in a proactive way, in a strategic way. So this is, of course, also pushing, companies to rethink deeply decision-making processes, is pushing organizations to rethink deeply incentives, for example, for executives and their bonuses. And it's also pushing organizations to become more transparent. So the topic of sustainability disclosure is indeed very, very important. And more and more we see companies becoming more open to the idea of a transparent disclosure, which is something many stakeholders are demanding in industry today. Probably, you could find examples of sustainability leaders in many industries today. Yeah. I think we mentioned the fashion industry before, and companies like Patagonia in the US, or Brunello Cucinelli in Italy. They are today truly recognized for the innovation that they have introduced in the industry, the type of change they have pushed in the industry, and also the type of success they have achieved thanks to sustainability. So this is also, I believe, something that is happening now, that we are able to recognize sustainability leaders, because these organizations started taking sustainability seriously years ago, and now they benefit of the work they have done in the past years. So there's a gap between the sustainability leaders and the practitioners, if you wish, is becoming bigger today, and probably pushing more and more other organizations to engage with this topic, because of course the pressure in terms of competing with these companies is becoming bigger. I am familiar with the sports industry because I spent the last few months studying the Formula E. And the Formula E is a very interesting case study of an ecosystem that substantially was created as a spin-off from the motorsports, the traditional motorsports industry, and the Formula One ecosystem. And what is interesting is that it is, first of all, an entire ecosystem that today is a good example of creation of shared value, because it's an ecosystem that is helping to address some of the big challenges that we face in society, including, for example, carbon emissions and climate change, or, for example, the need of using renewable energies and mobility, for example, in cities. These are hot topics, and basically what is really impressive by what the Formula E has achieved over time is that it started as something very small, but then over time it attracted the interest of the big manufacturers that are traditionally part of the motorsports industry and motorsports events. So what is happening today is that the Formula E became the laboratory for these big manufacturers to experiment new technologies that then are going to be used in a few years' time in the cars that we will drive. So that's a great example of a sport. In that case, a motorsport that is, influencing another industry, and this, influence is based on sustainability principles, a sustainability proposition, a business model that embraces sustainability. And it's a kind of interesting to see that the Formula E has attracted many actors that were not traditionally in the Formula One ecosystem, for example, has pushed very interesting technological developments that made a real impact from a sustainability perspective on the automotive industry. And we see more and more of this happening. I mean, just recently there was, for example, another motorsport that was announced, which is a global e-scooter competition. I think we are going to see more and more and more. And then, of course, there are other sports like basketball or football, where the sustainability of events, the sustainability of arenas is becoming a hot topic. So I believe we're going to see a lot of change in this industry in the next years, and positive change.